Hollywood's golden age gave us unforgettable icons who captured the hearts of millions. But what if everything you believed about these legends was carefully constructed fiction? Lee Marvin, the battle-scarred Marine who bled on Saipan's beaches, was famous for one thing: his refusal to lie. Near the end of his life, this rugged truth-teller revealed a shocking list that sent tremors through Hollywood's polished facade. 7 names, 7 actors considered untouchable, 7 dark secrets the industry desperately wanted buried. Among them was a patriotic hero who avoided serving his country during its darkest hour, a crooner with blood-stained connections to organized crime, a heartthrob who boasted of 1,000 conquests while destroying young careers. Why did Marvin wait until death was near to speak these truths? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the legends you thought you knew. Number 1. John Wayne, the patriot who never went to war. When World War II consumed the globe, Hollywood answered the call. James Stewart piloted bombers over Germany. Clark Gable enlisted as a gunner. Henry Fonda served in the Navy. These men traded spotlights for battlefields. But John Wayne? He stayed home. While America's sons died on foreign shores, Wayne submitted deferment after deferment. Documents revealed by the Los Angeles Times showed his excuses: family hardship, career obligations, studio commitments. Republic Pictures lobbied the War Department with a simple message: losing Wayne meant losing millions. But here's what's truly infuriating. While real soldiers fought and bled, Wayne built an empire playing the very heroes he refused to become. Films like Flying Tigers turned him into America's military icon. He wore the uniform on screen while others wore it in hell. Lee Marvin, who spent over a year in a naval hospital recovering from Saipan wounds, couldn't stomach the hypocrisy. In a 1965 interview, he said watching Wayne play soldiers made his blood boil. Here was a man celebrated as America's warrior, while actual warriors suffered and died. Wayne's controversies didn't end there. In a notorious 1971 Playboy interview, he defended displacing Native Americans, claiming they couldn't hold their land. He questioned whether African Americans were ready for equality. On the set of The Searchers, actress Dolores Del Rio revealed he mocked her Mexican heritage with ethnic slurs. Then there was The Conqueror, filmed near a Nevada nuclear test site. Despite radiation warnings, Wayne pushed forward. Dozens of cast and crew later developed cancer, including Wayne himself. Many believe he knew the risks, but prioritized production over people. To Lee Marvin, John Wayne represented everything wrong with Hollywood. A manufactured hero who profited from real sacrifice while contributing nothing.
Number 2. Frank Sinatra, the voice with blood-stained hands. Frank Sinatra's voice could make women faint and audiences weep, but behind those piercing blue eyes lay connections that would make your blood run cold. Sinatra wasn't just friends with mobsters, he was their golden ticket to legitimacy, their bridge between the underworld and mainstream America. The FBI knew it. Declassified documents from 1977 reveal Sinatra's intimate relationships with mob royalty: Lucky Luciano, Sam Giancana, Carlo Gambino. These weren't casual acquaintances. These were business partnerships that turned Las Vegas into a money-laundering paradise. Sinatra would perform at mob-owned casinos like the Sands, packing houses with respectable Americans. After shows, envelopes stuffed with cash would change hands, then disappear into Giancana's accounts. The FBI documented it all, but Sinatra stayed one step ahead. In 1952, Italian police discovered suitcases labeled musical instruments on Sinatra's private jet. Inside, contraband. A young singer named Joey Russo got caught in the scheme. His career was destroyed, he faced arrest, and vanished from the industry. Sinatra? He walked away performing at Madison Square Garden like nothing happened. His personal life was equally dark. His marriage to Ava Gardner was a battlefield. In 1953 at the Beverly Hills Hotel, witnesses saw Sinatra hurl a bottle after spotting Gardner talking to director John Huston. A waiter reported hearing him scream he'd destroy anyone who took her away. Gardner later wrote she lived in constant fear during his rages. Then there are rumors that haunted Hollywood for decades. The young actress under MGM's wing who suddenly disappeared after getting involved with Frank. Her identity remained buried, but whispers never stopped. Sinatra's violence extended beyond private moments. In 1957, at Miami's Fontainebleau Hotel, he physically assaulted a Miami Herald reporter for asking about his mob connections. The story was buried under pressure from Sinatra's powerful friends. Lee Marvin witnessed Sinatra's arrogance at a 1966 Palm Springs party. Sinatra showed up 2 hours late, stayed 15 minutes, and left without a word. Marvin muttered to a friend, "He lives off the shadows behind him, not his voice. A man like that, I'll never respect." Number 3. Tony Curtis, the Hollow Prince. With chiseled features and a megawatt smile, Tony Curtis seemed like Hollywood perfection. Studios marketed him as the ultimate heartthrob. And Curtis? He took that literally, openly boasting about sleeping with over 1,000 women. His romantic entanglements destroyed lives and careers. His first marriage to Janet Leigh looked perfect in magazines, but behind closed doors, she suffered in silence. In 1960, while filming Spartacus, Curtis was caught having an affair with Christine Kaufman, nearly 20 years younger. The scandal exploded, and his marriage to Leigh crumbled. Curtis then married 18-year-old Kaufman, despite public outrage. The New York Times called it the most shocking Hollywood marriage of the 1960s. But Curtis's pattern continued: affairs, neglect, abandonment. Kaufman eventually left with their 2 children. By the 1970s, rumors circulated that Curtis traded film roles for sexual encounters with aspiring young actresses. Careers were ruined, dreams destroyed. One case in 1982 particularly outraged the public. The Chicago Tribune reported Curtis, then in his 50s, had been involved with an 18-year-old actress in Las Vegas. Despite public fury, Curtis escaped consequences through expensive lawyers. The young woman disappeared from Hollywood shortly after. Curtis's descent into addiction completed his fall. Throughout the 1970s, he became a fixture at Sunset Strip parties, drowning in alcohol and drugs. In 1974, production on Lepka halted for 3 days because Curtis vanished on a drunken binge. When he appeared, crew members told the Los Angeles Times he couldn't remember his lines and could barely stand. Studios protected him as long as he sold tickets, but eventually his body gave out. Chronic lung disease left him frail and dependent on an oxygen tank. Lee Marvin despised everything Curtis represented. At a Beverly Hills party, when Curtis drunkenly bragged about his conquests, Marvin sneered, "He's just a product, shiny outside, empty inside." To Marvin, Tony Curtis embodied Hollywood's rot, a system where good looks masked moral bankruptcy, where addiction was tolerated as long as box office numbers stayed strong, and where countless young women were used and discarded. Number 4. Yul Brynner, the Bald Tyrant. The 1964 charity gala for World War II veterans should have been solemn. Lee Marvin, himself a wounded veteran, stood ready to speak about sacrifice. Then Yul Brynner grabbed the microphone to promote his latest film. Marvin slammed his glass down so hard the hall went silent. The Los Angeles Times headline said it all: Marvin and Brynner, 2 stars, 1 stage, 1 explosion. From that moment, their hatred was public knowledge. But for those who worked with Brynner, the surprise was only that someone finally stood up to him. On the set of The Magnificent Seven, Brynner demanded director John Sturges always highlight him above everyone else. When Steve McQueen started drawing attention with subtle gestures, Brynner allegedly spread vicious rumors about McQueen's personal life. Richard Harris later claimed Brynner fabricated stories to steal roles, leaving Harris humiliated and professionally damaged. Brynner's ego demanded constant feeding. Lighting crews lost hours adjusting setups so his bald head would gleam perfectly. Camera operators were instructed to favor his angles even in scenes meant to showcase other actors. If anyone protested, Brynner would threaten to walk. His personal life was chaos, barely contained. In 1961, he was spotted in Paris, simultaneously involved with Marlene Dietrich and a young dancer. When the 2 women discovered each other, a public confrontation erupted while Brynner walked away unbothered. The ultimate hypocrisy came with his anti-smoking campaign. After being diagnosed with lung cancer in 1985, Brynner became the face of a major public health initiative, Don't Smoke Like I Did. It was powerful, seemingly redemptive, but those who worked with him told a different story. A makeup artist recalled, he could smoke 3 cigarettes in a row, then step in front of cameras to lecture about quitting. Lee Marvin saw right through it. He told Variety, he doesn't act. He just waits for the spotlight to shine on his bald head.
Number 5. Charles Bronson, the man who made sets freeze. Lee Marvin's assessment of Charles Bronson was characteristically blunt. Working with Charles Bronson is like talking to a wall, but at least a wall stays quiet. He radiates an energy that suffocates the whole crew. That quote became one of Marvin's most famous insults. Bronson's tough guy image made him a box office sensation in films like Death Wish, but behind the scenes, he earned a different reputation. The Los Angeles Times once devoted an entire article to calling him the most unpleasant man in Hollywood. This wasn't about artistic temperament. This was about cruelty. His marriage to actress Jill Ireland was publicly portrayed as Hollywood's iron couple, but reality it was far darker. Ireland confided to Michael Caine that Bronson was obsessively jealous, monitoring every phone call, questioning every outing, controlling every aspect of their lives. Neighbors in Bel Air reported frequent shouting matches and the sound of objects being smashed. Rumors claimed Bronson once slapped Ireland at a Beverly Hills party simply for smiling at another man. On film sets, Bronson's temper terrorized crews. During The Dirty Dozen, he threatened physical violence against a lighting technician who accidentally misaligned a spotlight. Grabbing the man by his collar, Bronson snarled, "Only the light is allowed to shine on me, no one else." The crew member told Hollywood Reporter the entire set went silent, everyone afraid to move. Bronson's prejudices were equally troubling. While filming Breakout in 1974, he allegedly refused to act with a Mexican actor, declaring, "The audience comes to see me, not them." Lee Marvin tried giving Bronson a chance during The Dirty Dozen, attempting friendly conversation between takes. Bronson's response? Icy stares and a cold declaration, "I don't need friends here." From that moment, Marvin saw him as soulless. One director told CBS Evening News, Bronson doesn't need to shout or smash things. He just sits still and the whole crew feels choked by pressure.
Number 6. Robert Mitchum, the rebel who fell asleep on duty. September 1st, 1948 changed Hollywood forever. That night, Los Angeles police raided a Laurel Canyon villa and found Robert Mitchum with actress Leela Leeds in what became Hollywood's first major drug scandal. The next morning's Los Angeles Times showed Mitchum being led away, head down, still holding a cigarette. The shock was seismic. Mitchum had just broken out with Out of the Past and was being groomed as America's post-war masculine ideal. His arrest shattered that image. The New York Daily News called it a betrayal of a hero. Mitchum served 60 days in Los Angeles County Jail. Photos of him in prison garb became iconic symbols of Hollywood's darker reality. Beyond the scandal, Mitchum was infamous for his drinking. He regularly arrived on set intoxicated. During River of No Return, director Otto Preminger had to halt takes repeatedly because Mitchum would fall asleep mid-scene. Colleagues claimed he could down 2 bottles of whiskey before filming. Variety described him in 1955 as an actor fueled more by alcohol than script. His attitude infuriated those who took their craft seriously. On Not as a Stranger, working alongside Marvin, Mitchum openly mocked director Stanley Kramer. Marvin, who treated acting with respect despite his tough persona, was insulted watching Mitchum treat filmmaking as a joke. Their clash was immediate and public. Mitchum's off-screen comments created additional controversy. In a 1969 Esquire interview, he made derogatory remarks toward minorities and mocked civil rights movements. During the Vietnam War era, while many in Hollywood opposed American involvement, Mitchum loudly supported military action. At a 1967 Chicago press conference, he declared, "We must crush disorder with an iron hand." For Lee Marvin, who understood war's brutality firsthand, Mitchum's hawkish posturing from someone who'd never faced combat was unbearable. Lee Marvin's verdict was devastating.
A soldier never falls asleep in battle. An actor shouldn't fall asleep on set. But for Mitchum, it was routine. That summary captured why Marvin placed Mitchum on his blacklist, not just for bad behavior, but for betraying the craft itself.
Number 7, Telly Savalas, the peacock who demanded the spotlight. The Dirty Dozen became a classic war film, but for Lee Marvin, it was also the setting for one of his most intense professional rivalries. From day one of filming in England, Telly Savalas drove everyone crazy with his demands. Lighting had to be adjusted so his bald head would gleam perfectly. According to Hollywood Reporter, crews lost nearly 40 minutes every morning accommodating his requirements. He demanded camera angles favor his face, even in scenes meant to showcase other actors. When reminded about fairness, he snapped, "Audiences pay to see me, not nobodies." His vanity extended beyond the set. At London's Dorchester Hotel, he threw lavish parties where staff were instructed to address him as Mr. Kojak, even though the famous TV series hadn't been created yet. A waiter told the Daily Mail, "He walked in like a king and we were all just servants in his play." At home, his ego caused real damage. In a 1974 Los Angeles Times interview, his ex-wife revealed he controlled every detail of family life. Meals, social interactions, even how their children greeted friends. She bitterly noted, "We didn't live as a family, but as unwilling spectators in his endless show." The breaking point with Marvin came during a barrack scene. Savalas deliberately stepped into a camera angle reserved for Marvin, stealing the close-up. Furious, Marvin stormed off set shouting, "This is a war film, not a contest for who shines the most." Filming halted and security was brought in to prevent physical confrontation. On Kojak, Savalas forced constant script rewrites to give his character more heroic moments. A writer told Variety he didn't care about story, only whether he looked impressive enough. During Capricorn 1 in 1978, when a young actor accidentally stood in the wrong spot, Savalas barked, "You don't deserve to share the frame with me." Lee Marvin later admitted in a CBS Evening News interview, "I fought real battles, faced real bullets, but rarely met someone who made me want to explode like Telly Savalas." He was so self-absorbed, he saw all of us as mere background. For Marvin, Savalas wasn't a star. He was a peacock, flashing feathers under lights instead of relying on actual talent. Hollywood's golden age gave us immortal legends, but Lee Marvin's revelations force us to ask uncomfortable questions. How many of our idols deserved their pedestals? These 7 names, Wayne, Sinatra, Curtis, Brynner, Bronson, Mitchum, and Savalas, represented everything Marvin despised. Pretense over substance, ego over craft, image over truth. He waited until near death to speak because he knew the industry would never forgive such honesty. Now you know the truth behind the legends. Who shocked you most? Drop your thoughts below and subscribe for more untold secrets from Hollywood's backstage.